everybody, welcome back. These brides went bridezilla in 10 seconds or less. Am I the a-hole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? Rise for the Honorable Judge Charlotte. I actually kind of hit the note there. For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes, which totaled over $700. Was this like an Indian wedding? Why'd you need 3? 3-day wedding? Was this a cultural event? She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. 3-day wedding, my goodness. Dear Lord. Unfortunately, starting in May, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks. And in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it would look good even though it wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message.
After our recent conversation, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful and pretty.
No, sorry, delete that.
But I can't allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos for this day, and as we reflect on this day in the further, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be a bridesmaid in 2019, I've been very clear and very communicative in my requests. The timing of your decision to cut your hair is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you had communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution.
Does she want you to wear a wig?
Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathize with your health concerns,
Doesn't really sound like you do.
I am not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you or anyone else. And if you had informed me in advance, we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. I feel like that was good, right?
It wasn't good. It kind of just like baffles me how some brides treat their wedding as if it's like a commercial or like a video shoot or like a film shoot or something. And they treat their friends and family members as like cast members that need to look a certain way. I'm okay with cutting my hair for a role. Hell, I'd be okay with dyeing it for a role. But you better pay me. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice. Period. Asking them to reimburse me for the dresses and shoes. Keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession, even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, and so I decided to take it to court. It's so petty. Period. Oh my goodness. Yes, queen. It's petty, don't get me wrong, but it's totally fair because like you spent that money because you wanted to show up for your friend for her wedding, okay? You would not have spent that money otherwise. And clearly these are circumstances beyond your control. She doesn't seem to care about your health concerns. All she seems to care about is what the photos and videos will look like. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the last 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be canceled. I spent hours helping her with wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program and even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. Listen, you're sending that lawsuit, you're taking her to court. You should know that this is friendship ending. But she also kind of ended the friendship to begin with, right?
Right.
You weren't saying you couldn't be in her wedding as a member of her bridal party. You were just saying that you were gonna have a haircut. I'm sure you didn't want to cut your hair. These are circumstances beyond your control. What really matters with a wedding, and genuinely all I really care about, is that the people that I love and want to be around are there for me on my wedding day. It means a lot to me that people show up. So far, pretty much all my friends are showing up to my wedding, at least the ones that really, really matter to me. I can't even fathom, someone saying to me, I can come to your wedding, but I can't afford a dress. Babes, borrow a dress. Let me get your dress. If that's gonna stop you from coming to my wedding, don't worry about it. I would love for you to be there. You need some help. You can't afford the flight. You can't afford the hotel room. Let me figure it out. I want you there. That is the mentality that you need to have, okay?
It's true.
Granted, I'm not perfect as a bride. Like, I'm really not. Like, I know I'm very preachy, and I'm sure that you guys look up to me and like the way that I handle situations. I'm definitely not perfect in the way that I've handled conflict with my wedding. But all I genuinely really care about is that the people that I love are there. That is one thing I feel like I'm doing right. When I agreed to be her bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she'd asked, even if at times it was a lot of time and money. So am I the a-hole for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair? It's petty, and you're not going to be her friend anymore. Like, this was friendship ending. One could argue that what she did was also friendship ending. She doesn't care that you're going through health complications. All she seems to care about is what you look like. That to me is like, that's not a friendship. So it's not like you lost much to begin with other than the money that you spent on her wedding. Not the a-hole. Should have had the lawsuit served to her at the altar. Oh. So we do have an update. This has been a long time coming, right? Because lawsuits take a little while, don't they?
Better call Saul.
Let's be honest, lawsuits are expensive. They're long and lengthy processes.
That's what she said.
I feel like you're gonna spend more money on the lawsuit than you are, just letting it go. But it sounds like you got time and you want to prove a point. So fuck it. I've had a lot of people reach out to me asking what the results of the case have been. Unfortunately, I could no longer post comments on my previous post as well. I figured I would wait until everything was done to update everyone all at once. In December of 2021, I got the notification that a court date had been set for February 7th, 2022. Wow, okay, she actually went ahead and was like, yeah, let's go to court. Just settle, babe, because if you lose, it's embarrassing. It would be virtual, and since it's small claims, we would represent ourselves. Okay, that's good. That's less expensive than a lawyer. I began gathering all my evidence and created a virtual file, which I shared with the court and her 7 days before the hearing. On the day, she did show up. We were given a chance to settle, but that was unsuccessful. When we returned to the hearing, I found out she'd also made a virtual file with her evidence, but never shared it with me. Oh, that's not allowed, I don't think. The court then made her share it, and what a surprise I had. She had copied my entire format for presenting evidence. Keep in mind that this is a format I created. Oh, did she present first? You sent it to the court first. Okay, yeah, good. See, it would be worse if you hadn't sent it to the court first so that they could see it. She didn't even have the decency or brain cells to make something up herself. The hearing proceeded, and we were both given a chance to share our side. I won't go into details, but it took probably 10 to 15 minutes. In my state, they do not give you the verdict right away, and it could take up to 90 days. And so I waited and waited and waited. Then yesterday, May 5th, almost 90 days after, I got a verdict. I won. Well, duh. She's been ordered to pay me the total of $808.94 for the dresses and shoes. I have to return 2 dresses and shoes I have to her. The verdict goes into effect May 30th. I don't see her appealing it, or fingers crossed she doesn't. All in all, I'm very happy with the outcome and so ready to close this chapter. Thank you to everyone who's been so invested in this with me. I hope this was the season finale you were looking forward to. It was. It was almost as good as White Lotus season 3 season finale. Chef's kiss. P.S. My hair and health are doing much better. My 3 bald spots are growing again, and I couldn't be happier. Sounds like the only disease you had is a friend that sucked. Burn! So, are you the a-hole for taking your friend to court after she kicked you out of your bridal party for cutting your hair? What do you think? Deliciously petty. Would I be the a-hole for not bringing a partner to the wedding or refusing to sit at the head table? I don't know why I feel like an opera singer today, but I will. A very bad one, okay? Shut up. I, 29 female, am a bridesmaid in my childhood friend Alex's, 29 female, upcoming wedding. Alex has 6 other bridesmaids, including 2 of our childhood friends, Jill, 29 female, and Carol, 29 female. The other 3 bridesmaids are women Alex knows from other parts of her life. I've met all 3 before, and they're all lovely, but I'm not particularly close to any of them. All 3 of them are straight women who have fairly serious partners, but are not married. I promise this is relevant. I have been in a relationship with Rachel, 27 female, for 3 years. Okay, so we got a lesbian couple. Jill and Carol are both married married to great guys who Rachel has met multiple times. I promise that detail is also relevant. Alex recently informed the troops that they're doing a head table at the reception, that it will be just the newlyweds, bridesmaids, and groomsmen, no dates or partners of the bridal party at the table. I tend to think this is a little rude, and I don't like it when weddings I've been to have done that. But I think it's just a pick your battles situation. Jill and Carol are also not thrilled about it, but all of us decide to let it go. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not ideal to like not get to sit next to your partner at a wedding. Like, especially a wedding where you really don't know people. It's not fun, but it's not like a hill I'm willing to die on, you know? Like, I've had to be at weddings before where Mike was the MC, so he was like standing up almost the whole time, and my social anxiety was at an all-time high. I just drank, honestly. I just drank all the table wine. My issue is with Alex's plan for Rachel's table. Alex told me Rachel will not be sitting with Carol or Jill's husbands, as I kind of assumed she would be. Instead, Rachel will be sitting with the 3 boyfriends of the other bridesmaids, plus some random friends from her fiance's fraternity. What? Rachel will be the only woman at this table full of men she's never met before. Oh. Rachel told me she's not comfortable sitting with people she doesn't know before we knew who exactly would be at the table. Oh, okay. One of these men at Rachel's table works for a political group that is vocally anti-gay marriage. Ooh. Awkward. I don't want to be a snowflake, but Rachel's comfort is important to me. I don't want her sitting with a bunch of men who all know at least one person at the table, especially when at least one of these men may not react well when Rachel informs them she's at the wedding as another woman's +1. Ooh, yeah, that's awkward. Yeah, you definitely need to voice these concerns. I feel like there's other places that she could sit. I asked Alex if we could, in order of my preference, 1, put Rachel at the table with Jill and Carol's husbands. 2, put Rachel at a table with my parents and Jill's parents. 3, allow me to sit with Rachel and not at the head table. Or 4, put Rachel at a table with Alex's mostly female friends from grad school. Alex shot down all of these for various reasons. I've actually heard that figuring out where people sit at a wedding is like one of the most annoying things to have to do, because let's be honest, you're putting a bunch of people together that like might not get along. I have to consciously put some of my family members at one end of the table and another group of family members at another end, because unless I want a fight to break out, I'll do it. With that being said though, I kind of know and I'm alerted to specific tensions in certain friend groups, and certain family members have issues with other family members. And because I want everybody to be chill and not have to sit next to people they don't like for an entire evening, I think I would rather know in advance that there's like a little bit of an issue there. I'm also surprised that she told you like the seating arrangements for the rest of the tables too. I guess you're in the bridal party, so it makes sense that you would know, I guess. But like when I show up at a wedding, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sitting here. Yeah, sure. Again, I don't know if I'm being overly sensitive. I don't think you are. I think that's a valid concern. If Rachel is going to be uncomfortable and Alex is not willing to make adjustments, I'd rather not bring her along so she can spend the evening doing something of her choice with people of her choosing. I've toyed with just pulling up a chair to Rachel's table once we get to the reception, regardless of what Alex says. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But I obviously don't want to cause drama at the wedding, and I don't want to create a headache for the waiters. I guess I'm trying to get a feel for whether me and Rachel or Alex is being unreasonable here. I mean, listen, as a bride, I think that when people come to me with like problems that are like, okay, I don't need another problem on my plate, I'm initially kind of hesitant and annoyed. I'm only annoyed when it's something that like was already sent out in an email. If you're not reading the invitation and you're not reading emails from me and you're asking me irrelevant information that like was in previous correspondence, you're forcing me to like reiterate it, that's annoying. But if you came to me with a genuine concern like this, I feel like I'd be a little receptive, minorly annoyed. But once, you know, you kind of explain the situation, like, does she know the full story of why you're uncomfortable and Rachel's uncomfortable? Maybe it's worth talking to her again. I don't know. I feel like if Rachel's gonna be that uncomfortable, it sucks, but maybe it's better if she just doesn't come. But I also really don't like that your friend is not willing to accommodate you as well. Alex is making it untenable for Rachel to attend on purpose. Oh, now that you say that, it makes me wonder why you have genuine concerns over Prejudice and she's like not willing to like hear hear you out. I feel like you might have a point there, COVID-19 waste time. Bingo, that's exactly what Alex is doing. There's absolutely no reason why Alex cannot move one person, Rachel, to another table. She's the one making up the sitting arrangements, no one else. She has the full power to change the seating. You have given her reasonable options where Rachel would feel more comfortable. You know, you've made it very, very easy for her to change things around. You've given her multiple scenarios in which she would be more comfortable than the scenario that she's in. So the fact that you've done that, I do think that there's something to be said for maybe the bride is trying to make it so that Rachel doesn't come. And then you kind of have to ask yourself, do I want to be friends with someone who does that? Even your own parents' table. She refuses with excuses. There is no excuse. One of her table mates is a known political anti-gay person. WTF, you're not being unreasonable, but Alex definitely is. You need to ask yourself why, and I think you already know the answer. Yeah, I mean, kind of sounds like there's a little bit of a prejudice here. I don't love that for you, bestie. So would you be the a-hole for not bringing your partner to your wedding or refusing to sit at the head table? I don't think that you would be the a-hole at all. I think you shouldn't go to this wedding, like, point blank. Doesn't sound like a good environment for you, I'm just saying. You are not the a-hole, my dear. It is decided. Bride called me a B-word on the batch trip and made a group chat without me. Ooh. I love some batch drama. I love it when it's happening to someone other than me. I don't like being on batch trips that have drama.
No way.
Hi all, throwaway account for obvious reasons. If anyone give me advice on how to navigate being friends with this bride, let me know. I was the only non-bridesmaid invited on a friend's bachelorette trip. Out of the 10 plus women invited, holy crap, that many bridesmaids? Only 3 ended up coming. Myself, bride's sister, and bride's BFF. Ooh, that says a lot. I wasn't shocked that her lifelong friends from home bailed, as the bride expected each of us to spend $2,000 on the Airbnb, flights, outfits to match the daily themes, etc. I voiced to her that this is a large financial ask for a lot of us. She didn't seem to understand and was visibly upset that most of her lifelong friends and bridesmaids canceled last minute. Ooh, last minute is also bad. I don't like that either. In fact, she spent the entire trip talking about the friends that didn't come and how much they would have loved it there. From the start, she seemed disappointed that we weren't who she really wanted there. I can understand being disappointed about that. I also think it would be a good opportunity to get to know the people better that did show up, you know? The morning of the trip, our airline had bumped us to an earlier flight. I was the first to notice and called everyone in the middle of the night to let them know we had less than an hour to get to the airport. Myself and the bride's BFF made our flight, while the bride had to take a different flight at another nearby airport. This is when I noticed that the bride, her BFF, her sister, had made a group chat for the trip, excluding me. I thought this was weird, but I said nothing and let it go. It sounds like you're the only one that really cares about this bachelorette trip, like, at all, other than the bride. The bride's sister proceeded to spend the entire trip talking to me like I was a child and needed instruction. I mean, if it weren't for you, they would have missed the flight. She was rude, intrusive, and condescending from the start. She reprimanded me and the BFF, saying it was the bride's trip and that she shouldn't have to pay for anything.
Excuse me, what?
While this sentiment is nice, we were never told about any of the planned activities, nor that we would be footing the bill until it was too late. Ooh, yeah, that's very inconsiderate. Not only are you going on a several $1,000 bachelorette trip, but when you show up, you don't even tell people that you have all these expensive activities planned. You say you're worried about how do I be friends with her. I don't know if you should be, to be honest, but let's go. Things got even worse when we went to the beach. I packed the only 3 bikinis I owned: a white one with a lot of coverage, a green string bikini that no longer fit, and a blue bikini, which was supposed to be reserved for the yacht day. I started my period that morning and decided to wear the white one, thinking the bride wouldn't care because she knew I was on my period, and felt awful. I was wearing a black cover-up over it the entire time, and we weren't given rules for attire at the beach. I felt okay about my decision because I left my engagement ring at home and never wanted to take away from the bride on her special trip. Despite having an opaque cover-up for the entire day, I saw that the bride was texting her bridesmaids group chat to tell them, blank's fiance, me, is such a bitch, and she wore white. Why are you even inviting people that you don't like on your bachelorette trip and having group chats without them? Like, why? Like, it is very clear that you need all the friends you can get. I see why. The financial cost is one thing. I feel like there's something deeper going on here, where people don't really feel like going on a trip like this is either worth it or they're worried about what's gonna happen because of who it's for. Other than the bikini, I couldn't think of anything else I had done to upset her or be unkind. Back at the Airbnb, I approached the bride to say I hope she wasn't upset about the bikini. I know it was her trip, and I genuinely felt bloated and disgusting, and I couldn't afford to to purchase any more clothes for the sole purpose of this trip. She assured me she totally understood. She then told me she wasn't sure if she had packed a white cover-up, so I offered the one I brought as backup, but made it clear I never intended to wear it. This resulted in her sister telling me she would pour an entire bottle of red wine on me if I wore it. The punishment does not fit the crime here, bestie. I ended up staying back while everyone else went to dinner and everyone came back, and they stood in the hall making fun of me and imitating me, thinking I was asleep. I said nothing, let it go, and spent the rest of the trip being as nice and bubbly as I could be. On the final night of the trip, I was talking to the bride about her wedding planning process. This managed to turn into a conversation about my own upcoming wedding. The bride then told me that she, nor God, condoned my marriage because my fiance and I chose not to get married in a church. She proceeded to say that actually we're going against God if we attend your wedding. I see what's going on here. Why is it always the people who are like, it's not always, I know a lot of really lovely Christian people, but there's some people that kind of use it as an excuse to be an asshole. Not all Christians, but certainly some. I was appalled to hear this from a fellow Catholic woman. I tried to explain that I was raised to be accepting and kind, see, and that my religious beliefs do not get in the way of my friendships. This set her off even more, and she told me everything I was taught by the church I was raised in was blasphemous nonsense and I wasn't Catholic at all.
Aren't you overreacting a bit?
I didn't know what to say and went to bed. Girl, if she feels this way about you and she treats you like this, why the hell are you worried about being friends with her? Screw this person. The bride has continued to reach out to me as if we are the best of friends after the trip. I don't know how to respond to this. She and my fiance work closely and we see her at events very regularly. Cutting her out completely is not an option. Any advice is much appreciated. Okay, I see. So you're forced to see her. You don't have to cut her out completely, but you can do what is called the yellow rock method. Basically, it's a nicer version of the gray rock method. The gray rock method is something that you do when you're dealing with a difficult person or a narcissist, and they're saying things to like intentionally get a rise out of you. And the gray rock method is like this. Okay. Sure. Yep. Cool. Okay. That's the gray rock method. This is yellow rock method. Hey! How are you? But not as fake, right? Like we'll be like good actresses. Oh my God, hey. Oh, you look lovely. Yeah. No, things are good. Oh, look. Oh, hey, sorry, I gotta go. Hi. That's the yellow rock method. Very superficial, very surface level. You don't have to be mean, but start to create some distance, okay? Because this person is not your friend. I'm actually surprised she would even bother to invite someone she didn't like on her bachelorette trip at all. You dump her, she's not your friend. There's a reason no one else went on the trip, see? You can be polite to her when you see her at events and such, but it doesn't mean you need to be her friend because from what you're describing, she's certainly not yours. She's literally bullying you. Like her and her friends are bullying you. Don't even bother going to the wedding. Cancel now, return any gifts, and run as fast as you can away from this female. Be civil when you see her in person. Concentrate on your fiance. They're the most valued person in your life right now. You don't have time for frenemies. Congrats on your engagement. Hope your wedding is what you want it to be, period. And please don't invite her. So here's an interesting take. When you see her at events, I feel like if you don't go to the wedding and you kind of like do a friendship breakup, I feel like she's gonna be very confrontational and bitchy toward you. I think what you need to do is just all appearances are fine. The less you care, the better. Make it seem like you're just suddenly very busy. Sooner or later, the friendship will start to phase out because like, let's be honest, it doesn't really sound like she cares about your friendship anyway. And she should because you're one of the few people who actually showed up for her on her bachelorette trip. So this is why I agree with this comment. Since fiance works closely with her, I would send her a gift to keep the peace. I don't know how she'd take it if they skip the wedding, but after the wedding, avoid her like the plague and just be civil when forced to interact. She should absolutely dump her. Just because fiance works with her doesn't mean she has to be friendly. Yeah, you don't have to be best friends. It doesn't have to ever make it out the group chat. You know what I'm saying? Civility when they see each other is all that's required. Don't let anyone tell you different. This woman suffers from main character syndrome. You were only invited to the bachelorette trip in order to help pay for it. Bingo. That's it. People are losing their minds, trying to live like they're on a reality show. Ask yourself, why are you trying to navigate a way to be friends with this bride? She's abusive and uses you as a doormat and for money. Are you desperate for friends? Answer that question for yourself, for your own well-being. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's some tough love, and it's right. Subscribe